Hey, all of you, hope you guys are great. So let's try to understand that how you can become a blockchain developer in 2023 if you are a complete beginner, and why you should become a blockchain developer. All of things we're going to discuss in this video. I'm going to share some of the stats which you can see and understand that what area you have to focus on, whether you have to go on the core blockchain development or whether you have to go on the dApp development. So this one is a very important video for all of you, those who want to start their blockchain development career and have less idea that what is the salary, what is the use case of the blockchain, what are the industries coming into picture and adapting this technology. All of the stats I'm going to share, and after that we move to the programming language, that what are the programming language are available, and if you are a beginner then how you have to start, what you have to learn first and how you have to learn first. So that's all we're going to discuss about in this video. So on the very first list we have the banking system. As I told you that decentralized finance is one of the biggest thing in the digital world. So bankings are adapting, they are launching different product in terms of flash loans, stake the 29.7% of the market share. Then comes the process manufacturing, it has 11.4%. We have the direct manufacturing is 10.9%, and then we have the professional services, it has 6.6%, and in that me and you come into the pictures. Then we have the retailers, then we have the others. So retail stand for 6% and others stand for 35.3%. so you can see the market, and on the base of that you can decide that in which area you want to go. So if you want to step into the field of banking, then you have to understand that what are the products are available in the banking space and what product you can include to facilitate the system. On the other hand, if you look at the spending of cryptocurrency from 17 to 24, you will notice that in 2017 this total spending in the cryptocurrency was 0.95 billion, but in 18 this number grew to 1.5 billion, and in 19 it's reached to 2.7 billion, and in 2020 it reached to 4.5 billion, and in 2021 we have 6.6 billion, and in 2024 19 billion. So you can see these numbers are exponentially growing, means different projects are coming in pictures, and that's why the trade volume, the spending of the cryptos are getting very high. You have seen all the statistic of the blockchain growth and how it's performed in the past year and how it's going to be performed in the future. What other companies are adapting? Let's talk about the salary, that how much you will get as a developer, what is the average salary for a new developer, experienced developer, and what you can expect if you become a smart contract developer, if you become a smart contract dApp developer, if you become a core blockchain developer. And now the average salary which I want to share with you all is for the blockchain dApp developer. So you can see the experience based salary and as a free based salary. So if you are starting with no experience, you will get an amazing amount, but if you have experience, you can see the amount is exponentially growing. So if you have a skill, then definitely nobody can stop you and you can easily able to get the job. I see that a lot of you are really conscious, are really scared that there is a market for a blockchain developer or not. There is a market of everything if you have the skill. And right now the salary is absolutely insane. If you look at the normal development field, like if you are go to the software development or Android development or web development, you would never get this kind of amount as a starting package. The growth of blockchain engineering as compared to other development fields. So if you go with the front end, you can see 4% hike, but on the other hand, on the top you can see the blockchain engineer get 575% hike as compared to other developers. So security engineer, embedded engineer, data engineer, backend engineer, machine learning, mobile engineer, full stack engineer, and front end engineer. So blockchain engineer on top because there is a demand, there is a less supply for the developer, and there is a less skills available in the market. So I believe that now you have the complete understanding that why you should have to focus on the blockchain development, why you have to learn the technology as compared to other technologies are available. The demand is very high, the supply is very less, and you can see the growth of the blockchain technology. So it's going to be the future. Decentralized finance, NFT models, core blockchain development, all of these things going to be very high in demand. Now let's talk about the second part of our video, that what are the skills you need to have to become a blockchain developer. Let's talk about that what programming language you have to focus to become a blockchain developer. So we have multiple options to pick from, but in this I'm going to highlight couple of programming language which you have to pick instead of picking the other one. Definitely all the programming language have some advantages and disadvantages, but you have to focus in those programming language which is high in demand currently. So once you focus on that particular language, it's going to give you a boost, and ultimately in future, if your clients want you to build a specific contract, a specific protocol, a specific DAG on a different technology programming language, so it would be very easy for you because you already know the work. So here you can see, here I would like to highlight 7 programming language which you can pick from to start learning development. So the first one we have is C++, then the second one we have Python, third one we have Java, fourth one we have Solidity, fifth one we have Viper, and sixth one we have Golang, and the last one is the JavaScript. So if you are a completely beginner and you want to learn about the blockchain development, then I would like to highly suggest you that you have to pick JavaScript. So focus on JavaScript first, spend like at least 20 days. In the next video, I will highlight that what are the functions, what are the variables, what are the topics you have to cover in the JavaScript to master and get ready as fast as a blockchain developer. So we're going to learn only those skills, only those topics which is very important in JavaScript as a blockchain developer, which you have to know. So again, a detailed video will come on this JavaScript, that what are things you have to learn. So once you master JavaScript, okay, JavaScript is absolutely mandatory for every blockchain developer, because if you look at the libraries which are available, if you talk about Web3.js, if you talk about Ether.js, if you talk about the frameworks, if you talk about the testing, Mocha library, Chai library, all of things are available in JavaScript. So you have to master JavaScript first before you learn anything. So here I would not encourage you to focus on the theoretical concept. Start with the practical, learn about the programming language, because gradually you will acquire all the knowledge about the theoretical. I can see many of you focus on the theoretical concept so much that you not try about the try the practical stuff. So focus on JavaScript first. Once you done with the JavaScript, you have to move to Solidity, because once you learn the JavaScript, 80% work is almost done. Only 20% you have to focus on the Solidity, because JavaScript and Solidity both are the same product, but they have a little bit differences. So if you're good in the classes in JavaScript, then definitely you can easily able to master Solidity. There is a slightly different in the syntax. So now let's talk about the process, that how you have to start if you are a complete beginner, how you can learn about this entire technology, entire blockchain development. As I said, that you have to start with the JavaScript. Once you're done with the JavaScript, you have to focus on the HTML, CSS. I'm not telling you to be master on this, because you have to know, because when you will build a dApp, you need to learn about that, how you can customize the element, how you have to build a component. So you have to know that how HTML, CSS work. First focus on JavaScript, then focus on the HTML, CSS, and then build a basic project. So this project would be pretty simple in that you have to build a simple front end where you can use all of this technology and then simply learn it. And if you give your 100% every single day, like 3 to 4 hours, then this will not take you a month. In the month, you can easily able to complete the entire these 3 things. So your 80% work is done if you learn about the JavaScript and the HTML, CSS. And that has come to the technology we'll use regular while building the tab. So you have to know that how the remix ID functions. So I want you to spend 2 days at least. First day, try to explore, write the contract, test different plugins, test different testing frameworks, use the remix ID extensively, connect with different protocols, different blockchains. So know about the remix ID. JavaScript, HTML, CSS, then build a project and then learn about remix ID. After that, you have to move to the Solidity, and this will be a piece of cake for you because you have already done the hard work. You have already done your 80% work, and here you have to focus on the next 20%. So in that, you have to know that how the class construction work, different keywords we have, UNT variable type we have. So both the types are same, but the syntax are different. So you will learn about it, that how you have to learn. So here you have to focus on 20%, and if you master this part, it will take close to 10 days. If you really good in the JavaScript, then this will take you only 10 days to master it. Again, I have a complete course on this which will teach you every single thing about the Solidity, so make sure to check that. After that, you have to build smart contract, and here I would recommend you to build at least 15 to 20 smart contract, 15 to 20 with different industries. So again, I have a complete playlist, make sure to check that. In that, I have mentioned that how you can build a smart contract for a social media platform, how you can build a smart contract for ERC20 token, how you can build a smart contract for health industry, financial sector. So build different contract, try to include different functionality. and that all will be possible once you will be good in these two. So this two is absolutely at least 10 to 15 contract. Then you start learning about the MetaMask wallet. So you will automatically learn about the MetaMask wallet when you will start using this Remix ID, but you have to learn that how you can add a custom network, custom protocol, and this will not take more than an hour or two. So learn about this, that how you can connect with different, how you can add your own custom wallet. Okay, so these are the 7 things you have to master first: JavaScript, HTML, CSS, build project, Remix ID, then Solidity, then we have the build contract, then we have the crypto wallet MetaMask. Let's move to the next step, next 7 point, and in that you have to learn about these frameworks. So these frameworks are very important for you as a smart contract developer, because you have to test, you have to deploy. And how are you going to do that? You're going to do using this frameworks. So first, after the after the crypto wallet, you have to start learning about the Hardhat and Truffle. Both are the same, which use for testing and development of the contract. I use Hardhat mostly prefer because it has a easy to use interface and the framework is absolutely amazing. So I would say that you can pick anyone, both are same, and you can start with the Hardhat. I have a complete playlist on that. You can simply follow and you will learn everything. So it will also take only 1 day. If you give 5 hours times, we will be master Hardhat. So learn about that, how Chai and Mocha library work in the testing framework, how to deploy a contract, how to follow a structure, how to do the configuration of different network and deployment of the network. So that everything is covered in the Hardhat. So make sure to learn about Hardhat. After that, you have to learn about the Mocha and Chai library, which you will cover definitely when you will start focusing on the Hardhat, because in that we use Mocha and Chai library for the testing. So once you're done with the Hardhat, then move to the Mocha and Chai library. After that, you have to pick any framework. So right now we have multiple framework for building our app. So you have done all the hard work for writing the smart contract, for the deployment, for learning about the protocol, how to behave. After that, you have to pick a framework, because right now, if you look at the companies and if you get a freelancing project, all of those, they want you to build a application using any one of these framework. You can build using the HTML, CSS and JavaScript. That's absolutely fine. But if you have the skills on these frameworks like React.js, Next.js and TypeScript, you will have a very good advantage. So start focusing on the JavaScript. And the reason why I told you to master JavaScript, because you can see that these frameworks are built on JavaScript, React.js, Next.js and TypeScript. So I would suggest you to go with the Next.js, which is in the middle and which is very high in demand, and there is a lot of features. You can able to make an API call as well. So focus on the Next.js or React.js or TypeScript, whatever you are comfortable with. After that you have to understand that how NFT work exactly, how you can build different models, different project, and you're going to use this NFT feature of the smart contract to facilitate your user and provide your service. So how you understand how NFT work. After that, understand how DeFi work, that how you can build a decentralized app, how the exchange happen, how the liquidity happen, how the protocol interact, how you can stake the token, how you can make the reward logic, how you can make the ERC custom token, and it's going to fluctuate the pricing. So you have to understand the NFTs and DeFi, and after that you have to build a project. And this project is going to be your portfolio. So in that, the 2 projects I want to recommend you to build is NFT marketplace and Uniswap clone. And you can add one more for the DeFi, like token staking dApp. So these are the 3 projects which is absolutely must for you to add in your portfolio. It will give you a strong fundamental, because everything, whatever I have highlighted here in this entire roadmap, everything was used in all of this project. So you have to build at least these 3 projects: NFT marketplace, Uniswap clone and token staking dApp. And that should be your roadmap for the next 2 to 3 months. So if you follow this particular roadmap and the step which I have explained to learn and build, you will be very strong in dApp development, and you will learn about all the fundamental as well. And the reason why I not encourage you to focus on the theoretical concept, because you will forget. And when you will build a dApp, when you will do the things practically, everything will be stick in your head. So try to follow this roadmap. First, start with the JavaScript, learn about the HTML. This will not take more than 2 days. The maximum time you have to spend right up here. In JavaScript, this will take more than 1 or 2 days, 2 to 3 days if you give like proper focus. After that, you will build a project. This will take at least 2 days or maybe 3 days. After that, this Remix ID, it will take only 1 or 2 days. And I want you to take 2 days, because the more time you will spend, the more thing you will learn. After that, move to the Solidity, and this will take let's imagine that it will take 20 days for you. Sorry, it is like a week or 10 days for you. Then build contract. Then understand this will take only 1 day. After that, once you're done with that, just focus on the Hardhat framework. Then focus on the Mocha and Chai library. Then focus on the JavaScript frameworks. And this will take, like, you just give 10 days, I would say 10 days. Learn about the important hooks. Again, a detailed video will come on this, that what are the hooks you have to master. I would only recommend those hooks which I use on the project, so you guys can understand and you guys can master, and you should not just revolve around the learning the entire framework, because you will learn gradually. So a detailed video will come on this, that what are the hooks you have to use and what are the hooks I use personally in the project, in the dApp development. Then we understand the NFT, it will take only 1 day. Give 1 day for the DeFi and build project. This will take like 20 days. Give 10 days for each project. I know this video is pretty long, but these are the things you have to follow if you really want to become a good blockchain developer. So I want you to follow this for the next 2.5 months. If you give every single day like 3 to 4 hours, you can be ready for the blockchain development, okay? As a blockchain developer. So that's the only thing I want to cover in this video. Definitely in the next video, we'll talk about the JavaScript, that what are the things you have to learn only. I'm not recommending you to learn about the closure and all of the things. That you will learn gradually when you will build more project, but I want you to focus on those topics which you're going to use regularly for the deployment of the contract, building, lodging, interacting with the front end, interacting with the blockchains. So those are the things we're going to learn specifically, so our development and the learning process should be fast. This is the most complete roadmap for HTML who wants to become a full stack blockchain developer. In this video, we'll learn about the syntax, that what are the tags you have to know in HTML, how you have to know, and after learning this, what project you can include to enhance your understanding, and it will help you a lot in building full stack dApp. I don't want you to focus on those tags, just focus on those important tags which you can use, and gradually you will learn when you will start working on the project. So here is the couple of syntax which I want to highlight. The first one is HTML tag. You have to know the purpose of this HTML tag and how it's going to work. So this is the root element that's wrapped the entire HTML document. So whatever you're going to write, that's all going to become inside this HTML tag. Then comes the header tag. In this header tag, we generally keep all the important metadata about our application. And so if you're building a Solidity smart contract auditor dApp, so inside this header section, you're going to mention all the metadata, like what is the name of the application, what is the description, what is the SEO descriptions, and you're going to like all the titles. And then comes the title. In that, you're going to define that what is the name of your application, and this tag generally comes in the header section. Now then comes the body tag, and this body tag generally contains the entire HTML of our application which we use, which we create for writing and building the logic. Then we have couple of important heading tags. So as you know that if you look at the blog post, there is a heading, the main topic of the blog post, then we have some subheadings, then we have them some categories. So H1 stand for the main heading, then you go gradually down as per your subheading. So you have to know what is H1, what is H2, what is S3, what is H4, what is H5, and what is S6. Because when you will build the application, you have to know that how you can utilize it, and it help you in the Asian optimization. After that, you have to move to the P tag. You have to know that how you can declare the P tag and what is the purpose of the P tag, whether it's a global scope or a functional scope or a block scope. So you have to know the scope of the P tag. Then we have the anchor. I hope you guys know what the anchor tag does. So this is how it look. If you want to create any link, you're going to use this anchor. Then we have the image tag. If you want to embed anything in your HTML document, you can utilize that. After that come the UL tag, which stand for unordered list. So if you want to build any navigation, you can use that UL tag. After UL, we have OL, stand for ordered. You can use the same way, the way you use OL, but it is unordered. After that we have li. So if you want to define the list, and generally you will use this li inside UL or OL. After that we have a div. I hope you guys have seen me in my project that I have used this div to create the component. So that's the div we have. After that we have a span, and it's an inline container. So generally when you will use the span in a paragraph or in a heading tag, so that's not going to take the block scope, it will take the inline scope. After that we have BR tag, which stand for break, and then we have the HR, which stand for horizontal line. So if you want to make any line between the two paragraphs, you can use this HR tag and you will have a straight line. After that, we have a table tag. You have to know how table tag work. So you have multiple way to build the table. So just imagine that you are building your tab, and in that you are fetching the data from an API or getting the data from the smart contract, and you want to render those data in a table format. And you can use this table tag to build your entire component. So inside the table, we have a couple of other tags which you can use. So we have tr, represent for a row in table, and then we have this td, which called a cell table. Then we have th, which stand for table header. So these are the couple of tags you have to know if you are using the table tag, and you can go with the div as well. It's totally up to you. After that, we have the form, and form is really very important if you really want to get the data from the user and make an API call and get the data and push into the smart contract. So you can use the form because it has couple of inbuilt actions which you can perform without calling any particular function on that. So we have this form. After that, we have input field. The same, if you want to take any data from the user, you have to know that how you can use the input field, what are the types you have available, text, number, and other types, emails, passwords. So there's tons of type we have available in the input which you can use. So if you want to take a like file, then what is the type? You have to know all the types. After that, we have a button. That one is a basic tag in HTML which allow you to create a button. And then we have the text area. So if you want to take a like big list of text from the user, like huge number of text from the user, and pass into your contract, so you can take that text area. After that, we have a select, and select generally used for the drop down list. So you have a multiple menu and you want to create that drop down list, and you can allow user to select that one, and then it will reflect on the top. So you can use this particular select tag where you can display all the menus which you want to offer to your user. After that, we have options, and these options come under the select tag. So that's the thing you have to keep in mind, because when you will create the select tag, inside that you have to define the option, that what are the options you want to provide to your user. So these are the important tag you have to master. I hope you guys have seen the syntax, that how it's look and what are things you have to cover. So if you know this much HTML, you are ready to build any type of dApp. You are ready to build the skeleton of your dApp. So these are the important tab and the more frequent use tag in HTML for building our components. So I want you to master, just try to follow one or two example of each one of this tag. Try to see what are the other options are available in the tag. That will give you a better idea. So if you talk about the images, multiple property we can include in this image tag. If you talk about the source, if you talk about the attribute, if you talk about the inline CSS, so you have to check the example. So again, I'm not going to extend this video too long. This is the exact roadmap you have to follow. Start learning about each tag one by one. Do one or two examples. Try to understand that how you can build that, and after that you are ready to start on and build your first app. So that's the only thing I want to talk about in this video. Hope you guys have got a proper idea that how exactly you have to learn and what are the things you have to learn in HTML without spending too much time. So if you give 2 to 3 days with this particular HTML, you will learn every single thing. I want you to give some time. You can easily able to finish this entire HTML in 1 hour, but I don't want you to do that. I want you to give at least 3 days. First day, try to see what are the properties are available, how you can use it in multiple way. I show you the best and simplest form of use case, but you can make it more complex. So just try to follow, see the examples, try to see that what are the properties that are available in that particular element, like in terms of attribute, in terms of source. So try to look at that and build 1 or 2 examples. So that will give you a proper idea. So again, 3 days, not more than that. 3 days time you have to give for this HTML, and you are ready to build your first app using this. So that's the only thing I want to talk about in this video. And again, it's very important for a front-end developer and a full stack blockchain developer that to know how you can utilize this HTML, the power of HTML to build your dApp. Some of you say that front-end is not that important for the blockchain developer. Yes, it is important if you want to work in the front-end full stack blockchain development. If you are focusing on the core blockchain development, you can skip that part. But right now there is a huge demand for the full stack blockchain developer. So if you know to write the smart contract, connect the smart contract, and build a front-end app where you can provide all the basic functionality with the contract, you will be in a plus side. So I want you to focus, give 3 days time, and you are ready to build your first app. And that's the only thing from my end. If you are new to my channel, hit like and subscribe. That will motivate me a lot. And do let me know in the comment section that what else you think that is important to add me in this particular roadmap for HTML. So see you in the next video. Have a wonderful day. Bye bye. complete roadmap for a CSS developer. So if you want to become a full stack blockchain developer, then you have to know the CSS property which you're going to use in your dApp development. In this video, I will highlight that what are the property you have to master so you can start your dApp development fast. This entire roadmap is divided in 10 different categories, and in that we have highlighted that what are the properties you have to master in each one of the category, so you will have an overall understanding about the CSS property and its use case. And we'll see a couple of examples that how we have used in an element and how we have changed the styling calling in the CSS file. The first category we have in the list is color and background color. As the name suggests that you're going to use this property to color an element or a text. So if you use the color property in CSS, means you want to change the color of a text. But if you want to change the color of an element, you have to use a background color. There are multiple properties are available in background color, but this one is the most common one we use. So just try to understand that how color and background color work. Now come to the second category, we have typography. In that typography, I want to recommend 4 properties which you have to know. First one we have is font size. So you have to know that how the font structure take place in the element when you define h1, h2 or p tag or span. So you have to know that how you can manipulate the data font size property and how you can do it with dynamically as well. So that's the font size. After that we go to the font family. So there is a default family we have in the browser which will automatically take place in our element, but you can also customize and define your own font family. So if you want to use Google font, you can do that, or if you want to use your local font, you can use that. So understand how font family work. After that comes the font width. Different font widths which you can use. It starts from 100 and it goes all the way to 900, and we have bold and bolded. So you have to know that when you're going to apply this font width, when you have to highlight something very important in that, you have to do the bold your text, and that will reflect the design on your front end. Then the last one we have in this particular category is text align, and this one is the most common use property you will find in the CSS when it's come to aligning the text inside a div or placing a div in anywhere in our application. So understand how text align work and what position it takes. So generally it's moved to 3 different positions. It's moved to left, right or center. So these are the 3 property we have in the text align. So try to do the practice. Now the third category we have is box model. So you have to understand the basic fundamental of box model and how a container takes place inside your web page. So we have couple of property which we can use to align our entire model inside a element or inside a div. So the very first property we have is padding, and this will allow you to add some space around the div or around an element. So you have to know that how you can use this padding in different forms, how to assign different properties to this padding, and how you can use its properties to adjust the element. So understand how padding exactly take place. Then we have margin. Some of the developer treat this margin just like as padding, but they are different in nature. So I want you to understand that how exactly margin work. Try to play with the value. So the way you define your padding in the element, in the same way you can define your margin, but there is a difference between their element and the spacing of the element which you provide in the container. So understand margin, how it's work, because these 2 properties are the most common property you're going to use in every single element, in every single paragraph. Then we have border. You have to know that what are the options are available to you to assign a border to an element. So if you want to assign a border to a text, how you can do that. If you want to assign a border to an element, how you can do that. So try to understand about it and check all the values it's available to you which you can use to assign your border. And now we have the most frequent one, which is a width and height. So sometimes you have to go with the default height, or sometimes you have to go with the flexible height, or sometimes you have to go with the fixed height. So you have to understand that what are the value type is available for you which you can assign to your element. You can assign, so the value you can assign as a percentage, as a viewport, as a RAM or as a EM. So you have to know that what value type you want to use to your width and height. So these are the 4 important properties of CSS you have to master when it's come to box element, because whenever you build architecture, whenever you build the entire web page, these are the 4 most frequent properties you're going to use to align your entire div and the application. After that, let's move to the 4th one, which is the display and layout. So as the name suggests that this will focus entirely on the display of an element, display of a property, and we have a different display model. So when it's come to the display property, we have three different values. We have block, we have inline, and we have flex. So these are the three properties you have in display, or you can display grid as well. That's also come in the place of a display value. So you have to know that how display exactly work and how you can use in your element if you are building your application using the grid model or you are using a flexbox model. So you have to know about it. Then we have float. So if you want to float anything from left to right, you use this property. Again, it has couple of values which you can assign to change the direction of the element. So try to understand that how float exactly work. And here is the example which you can see how we have used in this particular element. Then we have position. So understand the position structure, that how you're going to define in an element and how the position work exactly. So we have three different type of position: relative, absolute, and fixed. So understand that how each one of these property will behave. If you want to make it relative, something in the element, how it's going to behave. If you want to make it something absolute, something fixed, how it's going to behave. So understand, because these three properties are totally different in nature and perform differently. So understand how these three properties works. After that, we have top, right, bottom, and left. So if you want to place any element and change the direction of an element, you can assign that. So once you understand the position, then you can easily able to use this top, right, bottom, left values, and this mainly follow the position property. So understand how exactly work. So master the display, float, positions, and top, left, right, and flex. So these are the couple of properties you have to master in display and layout. After that, you can go to the flex box. So right now, grid is very popular, but many of you are familiar with the flex box design because it was there in the past, but now most of the application use the grid system. But I would recommend you to go with the basic one. Grid system is also very easy to master, but I want to go with the basic one, and that will give you a better idea. So inside the flexbox, we have the same property. The flexbox, we have a display property, and that's take the value of flex. So if you want to flex any item, you can use that. If you want to assign a grid system, you can say display grid. So that's how you can assign. We have a flex direction. So if you want to change the direction of an element, like you can define the row, you can define the column, you can define the row reverse, you can define the column reverse. So these are the couple of property is available to you to define in your flex direction. So understand about that and play around with the value. After the flex direction, we have a justify content. So you have to know that how you can justify your content, because when you will use the flexbox system, when you will use the flex, then you have to use this property. You can use that to align your elements, like it should be center, start, end, up, down. So there is a multiple property which you can look at and you can assign to your element. After that, we have the align item. So you have to know that how you can align an item. What is the difference between the justify content and align item? So these are the property you have to master in flexbox. So display, flex direction, justify content, and align item. So understand each one of these property deeply, and that's what you can use to build your layout. After that, let's come to the most important part of our CSS roadmap, that how you going to target an element in your HTML document. Because whatever property we have discovered so far, it's all about the CSS property which we're going to apply on our HTML document. But the question is that how you going to target those elements. So in CSS, we have three different way of targeting the elements. The first one we have called element. You can use any HTML element and you can apply the styling targeting that specific element. For example, you want to apply styling to all the image tag in your HTML document. So you can take that HTML tag and apply the styling in your CSS file, and that styling will be applied to all the images. So that's the one way of targeting an element tag in the CSS, but we have other way as well. Like we can target an element based on the classes and based on the ID. So for example, if you want to change the styling of a particular div or a particular span, a particular HTML document, you can use the class model. You can simply give a class to that particular element and you can target that class and you can change the styling. In the same way, you can do with the ID. So these are the three ways we have to apply the styling to our HTML document based on the element, classes, and ID. With that, let's move to the 7th category, which is a pseudo class and pseudo element. Again, you have to know about it, that what it is and how you're going to use them. This one is an optional one, but I want you to know how it's work, because if you want to take your CSS skills to the next level, these are things you have to master. So the first one we have is over effect. So if you want to add any styling, or if you want to attach any event based on the mouse over, then you can use this property. Again, check a detailed explanation on this. There is a huge property we have, and the way we can apply this. After that, we have the active state. So if you want to check that whether someone have click on an element, whether it's an active or not, you can add this active state on the button or a checkbox. So you have to know that how it's work. So then we have an end child. So you have to understand that how the end child work exactly, and how you're going to use it, and why you have to use it, in what condition to target an element and apply the styling. So these are the three properties I want to recommend you in the pseudo class and pseudo elements to master. After that, let's move to the eighth one, which is more towards the styling part and making our application beautiful, called transition or animation. This one is also an optional one, but I want you to understand, because this will not take you more than 5 to 10 minutes if you just try to understand the property and how you can utilize them. So the very first one we have is transition. As the name suggests, that transition means add some sort of movement to an element. So if you want to add an animation, that's what you can add it. Then we have animation. So if you want to define a keyframe, and if you want to animate any element, or if you want to create a scroll bar, or those kind of smooth movement, you can use this two property, transition or animation. So master this too. After that, let's move to the ninth one, which is called box shadow and border radius. So you have seen that I have used this two property extensively in all the project we have built, whether you talk about Uniswap clone, NFT marketplace, token staking dApp, real estate dApp. Recently we have working on our web3 chat GTP. So in that we have used this extensively to style the element. So we have this two property under this category, like box shadow and border radius. So if you want to assign some sort of 3D kind of look, you can use the box shadow for that. And there is a multiple properties is available, which you can again have to look from your end to see how you can utilize that one. Then we have the border radius. So if you want to make the borders looks beautiful and add different styling to your element, you can use this property. You can change the value, play with the value. It has multiple property and multiple value which you can play with to style your element. And after that, we have the last one called media query. So if you want to make your website or tab responsive for the mobile device or other screen sizes, then you have to use the media query, and you have to know that how you can use this media query, how you're going to target and apply the styling to your element, what is global css classes and what is media query css classes, and how these stylings will take place. So we have a multiple breakpoint when it's come to media query. It starts from 300, then 4, 600. It's totally up to you that what are the breakpoints you want to add. So understand about it, understand about the variables, that value type we're going to use. So these are the 10 category I want to highlight for all of you guys, that these are the things you have to master if you really want to start and faster your web development journey. And so these are the things which you have to master. I hope you guys have got a complete idea that what are things you have to learn in this CSS. So I don't want to recount so many things at a time. If you're a beginner, then this is the roadmap you have to follow and start building your application. As soon as you complete this entire roadmap, know about each one this property, build an element, build a web page, and use this exact property to learn about it. Again, we're going to have a small project using these CSS properties, so you guys will have a practical hand-on experience on that how you're going to utilize that. So if you guys want me to build that project, do let me know in the comment section. Definitely I'm going to include that, so you guys will have a better idea. So that's the only thing I want to talk about. Hope you guys have learned something new today, and you guys know that what you have to follow, web developer or a full stack blockchain developer. And if you truly want to master web development and full stack development, then this is the project which I want to recommend you. It's a huge project, 8-hour project. In that we have built this beautiful application powered by AI. In this you will learn about the modern technology, including the custom CSS and all the technology you can able to find. So here I have listed down that what are the things you're going to cover and learn in this project. So make sure to come and have a look from your end that what exactly you're going to build in this particular course. So this is the course which I have launched for a complete beginner, and it will teach you every single technology which you have to know to master web development or full stack app development. So come and have a look. With that, I'm ending this video. Have a wonderful day. Bye-bye. Master JavaScript in 10 days. This roadmap will teach you that what you have to learn exactly, what are the topics you have to cover to learn faster JavaScript. And as you go ahead and build project, you will learn more. So this is for the complete beginner who just want to learn JavaScript and is wondering that what are the topics to be covered, because JavaScript is such a vast topic. So in this video I'll give you the complete roadmap which help you and give you a proper guidance that what you have to follow exactly. Before we start with the JavaScript, we have to know that why we have to learn JavaScript. There are other programming language, but why we have to learn JavaScript? So as a blockchain developer, I want to highlight few things that why you have to learn JavaScript and how it's going to help you in your blockchain development, in your front-end development, in your back-end development. If you look at the JavaScript, it's a multi-purpose language. You can write the back-end code using Node.js. It's written in JavaScript. If you want to come and build the front-end, you can do that using any popular library like Next.js, TypeScript, React.js, Angular, Vue.js. All of these libraries are available to you to build your front end using the power of JavaScript. If you talk about the blockchain, you're going to use the popular library like Web3 model, Ether.js, Web3.js. All of these libraries are written in JavaScript. And if you talk about the Solidity smart contract, and you will find the person similarity in JavaScript and the Solidity. So it is the powerful language which you have to learn in 2023. Whether you want to become a Web2 developer or a Web3 developer, focus on the front end or on the back end, JavaScript is must. Without JavaScript, you can't able to be a good and successful developer as per whatever I have seen so far. So now let's talk about that. What are the topics you have to learn in the next 10 days to master JavaScript? And this is the complete roadmap you have to follow for learning the JavaScript in the next 10 days. First day, you have to start with the variables, which will not take you more than an hour if you truly give your 10 minutes and try to understand that how you have to declare a variable, what are things are there in the variable. Then comes the data type. After that, you have to focus on the data structure. Then you have to focus on the equality comparison. After that, loops and iterations, then control flow. Then we have advanced data structure. Then we have the functions. Then we have the asynchronous, working with API, class and modules. So these are the important topics you have to know, because when you will start working and building application, whether it's a dApp or front-end application, you're going to use all of this topic heavily. You're going to declare different type of variable. You need to build a data type, data structure. You need to build a logic. In that, you're going to use equality comparison. After that, you're going to build some sort of loop like for loop or while loop, and after that you're going to use the control flow, advanced data structure for data iteration from the backend. Then you're going to build different type of functions, arrow function, normal functions, async functions. So tons of types of function we have. Then we have a asynchronous. You have to know, because after 2018 there was an introduction in JavaScript called ECMA 6, and that is so powerful. If you master that, it will make your life very easy in terms of API call and rendering the component, rendering the data in the front end. After that, you have to know that how work with an API, because you're going to use some sort of API for fetching the data. If you talk about the blockchain, you're going to use Chainlink inside the contract for fetching the balance of the token and build a logic. If you talk about the getting the data from a cryptocurrency or movie application or for any news, you're going to use some sort of API for rendering the data. After that, you have to focus on the classes, and I would say that you have to give at least 2 days on the classes, because these are the important topics which you have to master. If you know classes, it would be very easy for you to master Solidity, because if you look at the Solidity programming language, it follows the classes model which we have in the JavaScript. And you have to know that how models work, because if you use the React, Angular, Vue.js, Next.js or TypeScript, they all follow this modules, and this one is the latest one. It got introduced after ECMA 6. So these are the topics you have to cover. Now let's talk about that. What are the things you have to cover in each one of this topic? So here I have the list that what you have to exactly learn in each one of these topics. So first, start with the variable. In that, you have to understand that how variable declaration work. This is the 3 option you have to declare a variable: var, let and const. So you have to know the fundamental that how you can declare a variable, where you can declare, what are the global scope, what are the functional scope. So you have to understand about each one of these variables. So these are the 3 variables you have to master. After that, you have to know about the naming rules, because there are some keyword which you can't use as a variable. So you have to know about the naming rules, that how you can apply the name to your variables. Once you're done with that, you have to understand that how hosting work, and this one is a simple topic, so you have to learn about it. After that, you have to understand about the scope, because when you will declare your variables, it's going to be in any one of these categories. So whether it would be a block scope, function scope, a global scope. So these are the things you have to master, and this will not take you more than an hour if you practice with example. So I want you to focus on these particular keyword, these particular variables, and check with different example. Give 2 hours, at least 2 hours, 1 hour for learning and the next 1 hour for doing practice. So these are the things you have to cover in the variable. Let's move to the next one. The next one we have is the data type. And don't be afraid with this so many boxes I have highlighted here. These are the topics you have to cover in the data types. So if we talk about the primitive data type, in that we have close to 7 types of data. First, string, number, big int, boolean, undefined, symbol, and null. And the one you're going to use heavily in the programming is going to be string, number, and big int you're going to use because sometime what will happen that you're going to fetch the price of any token from the contract or from the blockchain. You have to convert it. So this big int will help you a lot, and boolean is also very important, and undefined is also very important topic which you have to master, because sometimes what happens that when you will make an API call and it will give you undefined, because sometimes the data takes a little bit time in loading. So you have to know that how you have to deal with that. So sometime you're going to use this undefined variable, build a logic, and symbol is totally optional, and null is also not that important, but you can use it. So these are the topics you have to master in primitive data type. Try to build at least 1 or 2 examples, and it will not take you more than half an hour to understand all of this. After that, you have to move to the type operators. This one is also very simple logic. You have to check the type of the data. So sometimes what will happen that you are getting any data from the API or are building any logic. So sometimes you will give a number, but it's a string. So you have to know that how you can use the type of operator to check the data type. Then comes the object. In object we have this 2 type, protopile, inheritance, and prototype. So you have to know that how you can use this data and build a logic around it. So you have to know this one is a little complex. You have to know that how the function call, and if you follow 1 or 2 practical examples on this, you can easily able to understand that how it's work. Now comes the built-in object. So inside the built-in object we have couple of variables, like we have error, we have boolean, we have number, we have math, we have string. So these are the built-in object you will find in JavaScript. In data type, I want you to understand all of these variables and how you can declare what are their default values, how it's work. There are a lot of things in data types, but these are the most important things you will find when you will actually work in your project. So you have to get yourself familiar, and you have to know that how each one of these work. And now we have the data structure. As you all know that data structure is the most important topic for any programming language. No matter what language you work on, every single language has a data structure. And if you want to build any logic, if you want to build any application, you have to know the data structure. So it's a really very important topic. So inside the data structure, we have these 3 components. We have the key collection, we have the index collection, we have the structured data. So inside the key collection, we have these couple of methods. We have the map, we have the weak map, we have the set, and we have the weak set. So you have to know that how it will work. Again, I will not go into details. If you guys really want me to create a playlist on each of these methods, each of this function, then definitely do let me know in the comment section. So I'm going to make a JavaScript playlist where we're going to focus only those things which you have to master, and I will share with some practical code. So these are the key collection. Now comes the structured data. Inside the structured data, we have the JSON, and JSON is a very light form data. So whatever API request you will make, whether it's on the blockchain or whether it's in the any API storage, you will get the data back in the JSON format. So you have to know that how you can irritate the data, how you can render the data in the JSON format. So you have to know how the data is so you have to know that how the JSON work. Then comes the index collection. So in that index collection, we have this 2 type. We have type array and we have array. So the data will be in a simple array, and it should be in the type array, means there is a nested array. So there is a tons of things you can structure your data. So you have to know that what are the ways how you can structure data and how you can retrieve the data inside an array or inside a mapping. So that's a very important thing you have to know. So that's the only thing you have to learn about in the data structure in JavaScript. Let's move to the next one. Now we have the loops and iteration. So these are the following topics you have to cover, because what will happen when you will build your applications, you're going to get the data from the server, or you will build any logic by taking an array. You have to use some sort of breaks, some sort of loops to render your components and along with the logic. So you have to know that what are the power you have, how you can define what are the restriction you have to declare a loop. Okay, definitely you don't want to run an infinite loop, otherwise that's not a good performance. So these are the following topics you have to cover, like break, continue, for loop, while, do while statement, while have the while statement, for in statement, and for off statement. So these are the following things you have to cover. Again, I want you to give 1 hour, try to understand that how to structure that and how you can predict different output. In that way, you will have very good understanding and you can start using straight away, because whatever I'm highlighting here, I have used in my project. And on the base of that, I build this particular roadmap for the JavaScript developer. Now let's move to the next one. Now comes the equality comparison, and this one is also really important because you have to build logic. And how are you going to do that? You're going to use some sort of logic, some sort of statement, and that's what we have to learn about it. So we have two modules. We have the conditional statement, we have the exceptional handling. So inside the conditional statement, you will find the if else statement, and it one is the most common and frequent use method you will find for checking certain condition. And the second one we have is switch case. So you have this alternative instead of using this. Both have their advantages. It's totally up to you that which one you are familiar with. But in the most programming language, in the most program, you will find that they use if else statement instead of this. So you have to know both one of this. After that, let's come to the exceptional handling. Inside the exceptional handling, we have this three method. We have the throw statement, we have the try catch finally, and we have utilizing error object. So what will happen that if you are building any logic and you want to catch an error, if anything goes wrong inside the API call, or maybe you have built some logic which is not compatible and it's throwing an error, so you have some statement which you can use inside your statement, inside your condition, to identify that what exactly went wrong. So you have to know that how throw work, how try catch work, how utilizing error object work, because when you will deal with the API, when you will build the logic, you're going to use this statement for asynchronous code. So this is what you have to master in equality comparison. Let's come to the next one. We have the function. So function has a lot of methods, a lot of way to build a logic, but here I'm going to highlight the most common one which we use in our project. So if we talk about the function, we have the function. You have a function in that you have to pass certain parameter to get an output. Then we have the arrow function, then we have this. Then we have IIEF, then we have argument object, then we have the scope and function stack, then we have the built-in function. So these are the couple of things you have to know, that what is scope and function stack. I just want you to understand that how exactly function call work. And that's going to be very important when you will make an API call, or when we try to call one function first and the other one. In that context, you have to know that how this stack work exactly. So these are the couple of things you have to master in terms of function. Now let's come back to the expressions and operators. And here we have the couple of things which you have to learn. The first one, we have this assignment operator, comparison operator, bitwise operator, logical operator, conditional operator, and string operator. So these are the methods you have to learn about it, that how you can declare it, what are the things each stand for, and how you can build a logic around it. Because if you look at all the project we have built, like it has close to, I have close to 22 project on my channel. If you look at that, we are using all of this heavily in our project. So I want you to do a little bit research on each one of this, try to practically build one or two function around this, and that will clear it out. It will not take more than an hour with a good research. So let's come to the next one. And now we have the asynchronous. So you have to know that how asynchronous code work, what are things comes into the picture, how you can render the data, how it's behave. And this one you will find extremely when you will use the modules, when you will use the React Next.js. But if you are using the plain JavaScript, you can use that in, but you will find this in the React or any framework you use for building your application. So inside that, we have couple of methods. We have set timeout, set interval, callbacks, callback help, promises, async, await. So these are the topics you have to know. This one you're going to use heavily when you will make an API call, or when you're going to interact with the smart contract and you're going to get the data from the smart contract. So you're going to use all of this extensively. Then we have this working with an API. So I want you to be good with an API, because no matter what kind of application you will build, somehow or the other you're going to interact, or you're going to use any type of API for getting the data in your application. So we have a couple of methods that how you can retrieve the data. So we have, this is the first method, we have this HTTP request, then we have the fetch, which is an inbuilt function in the JavaScript, then we have the popular library XCS, then we have the JavaScript iterator, and then we have the event loop. So these are the couple of things you have to know, that how each one of this work, how its syntax gets written, and how you can use it in your program. So I want you to cover these topics only. There are a lot, but these are the topics, main topics you have to focus on to learn about the asynchronous JavaScript. Now we have the last two modules which you have to know. You have to know that how the classes exactly work. Again, it's a really vast topic. I don't want to highlight a specific thing. I want you to master the complete classes, that how you can declare the classes, how you can call the methods inside the classes, and how you're going to use the same module function which you will define in the classes in multiple places. So classes are very important, and it will save a lot of your time because you don't need to write the same repetitive code over and over again in multiple places. All you have to do is to build the class model and use the function in your application, and you are ready to go. Okay, so you have to cover everything which is there in the classes, and I want you to give 2 days in this particular one. Now we have the model. Again, we have two types of model. We have the ECMA 6 model, ES model, and we have the common JS model. So in 2018 we have got this ECMA 6 model, which brings a lot of power to the front-end developers, which they can use. So these are the following topics I want you to master. Again, this will not take more than 10 days if you give 1 to 2 hours every single day. So give at least 1 hour to the variable. Try to understand that what are things are there in the variable and how you can declare that. After that, move to the data types, then move to the data structure. Again, this will take like close to 1 day if you give your 100%. And then we have the equality comparison. This will also take 1 or 2 hours if you give your 100% focus. Loops, again, they are very simple in nature. All you have to know is to understand that how things work exactly. And we're going to have a complete project using only these particular models which we can see here. Okay, don't need to worry about that. Then we have the control flow, then we have the data structure, then the function, async, working with an API, class models, and models. So this is the complete roadmap which you have to follow in the next 10 days. If you follow this particular topic, you are almost ready to build any type of applications using JavaScript. So I want you to be focused. And as you go ahead in your career as a developer, you will learn more. And I believe in practical learning. I believe in that the more project you will build, the more learning you will have. It will waste your time and it will make you confused. So it's better to follow and build project and learn along with that. When you will use all this syntax practically, that's going to stick in your head for a longer time. So this is the complete 10 days roadmap for a blockchain developer, for a beginner who just want to learn JavaScript. This is what you have to follow. And again, guys, if you want me to create a playlist about the JavaScript and whatever we have covered, the topics, if you want me to create a practical examples, build a functionality, explain you that how you can do that, then do let me know in the comment section that you guys want a playlist in JavaScript so I can make it, so you guys can follow that and you guys can understand, okay, this is how you can utilize it. And we're going to build a project. If you guys want me to build a project using these particular topics, then definitely do let me know in the comment section, which we're going to cover after the playlist. So do let me know that you guys want a playlist on this, so I'll definitely come with that. So hope you guys have got an idea that what you have to learn and how you have to start. So just follow the complete roadmap for the next 10 days and let me know that what you have learned. So with that, I'm ending this video, and if you're new to my channel, hit like and subscribe. That will motivate me a lot to come up with this kind of roadmap and project. And if you haven't checked all the project we have built on the channel, that will give you some real world project development experience and you will learn a lot. So with that, I'm ending this video. Have a wonderful day. Bye bye.